now that we have our lift done, we have our resident keeper of the pages here. She's ready to go play. I'm going to put her down now, and let's pick out our book. Night Pleasures by Sherrilyn Kenyon follows Amanda as she gets mistaken for her sister Tabitha, wakes up handcuffed to a dark hunter. Now they have to figure out how to save each other. Also, they fall in love. We'll talk about Night Pleasures by Sherrilyn Kenyon. This feels like one of those books where really the story is being told strictly so you can talk about the most attractive man ever and how great he is in bed, which is fine, but I like these better when there is more to the story. So we've seen Amanda, and Hunter is what she calls him. She got abducted going to her sister Tabitha's house, and now she's handcuffed to Hunter. They're trying to get out. They go to Julian, which you saw in Fantasy Lover, which I have read, and they get loose. We're learning all about the dark hunters and vampires and all of that. They're to the point where they're loose. They're discovering that the creatures that are hunting them have way more powers than they've ever seen. That's kind of where we're at. They're spending their first night together. I am at like the 50-ish% mark. The reason I waited so long to update was mostly because I knew if I stopped, I probably was going to struggle to pick it back up. With that being said, if you want a story that literally is just in the first 10 pages, very sexual, then this is the one for you. If you're wanting one that has a lot of plot and character development, etc., this one's probably not for you, at least so far. I will give it grace though, that it has picked up a little bit talking about the Greek gods and Aphrodite, all that stuff. And that to me is the really interesting part. And I wish that was more of the story. And those are the parts that really draw me in. I almost wish that was the story and the development, and the smut was a little less, because every time they think or talk about or look at each other, we go into this long diatribe of how absolutely gorgeous these people are, how much they can't keep their hands off each other, etc. So let's go ahead and get this done. fully finished it, and this took an excessive amount of time to read. I get that this is supposed to be very smut heavy, very romance forward, fantasy second. However, I really liked when they brought in the Greek mythology and wove that into it, and I wish that was more of it. I also just think that they never thought about anything. At no moment they could be dying, and that's what they're thinking about, is just their pleasure of each other in a very physical way and not necessarily in an emotional way. And some of that was weird. I also, spoiler alert, this is kind of late spoiler, but she tries to solve, so he was tortured. She called him Hunter. It's like Kyrian. I don't know the proper way to pronounce it. He was tortured by the Romans because he's lived for like 2,000 years alone, was betrayed by his first wife, and everybody had warned him that that was going to happen. But he was tortured for months on end, every like limb and bone and everything broken, before he became a dark hunter because he died from that experience. Well, hello, doggy. Well, because of that, he obviously doesn't like to be tied up. They're figuring this out. And so she wants to help him get over it so that he doesn't get caught in a place where he loses control and it costs him his life. Fair enough. Her thought process is just to do him dirty. Like, in the physical way. Just tie him down, ride him like a cowboy. That'll solve it. Problem solved. Never, like, I'm like, I don't think funny story. I turned to my husband, I asked him this thing, and he even, like, paused his movie. He was like, I'm sorry, start over? He told me, he was like, no, what are you reading? And I was like, well, I love romance. I love fantasy romance. I love romantasy. I love a fantasy with a romance. This one was just not it for me. So long story short, this is probably, this was recommended to me by somebody who really loved a fantasy romance. This was her favorite author. There's definitely an audience for this. It's people who kind of like a little bit heavier than like a cozy fantasy romance, has a little bit more story building, but really heavy in the smut and just like almost every page, every interaction. That's who this is for. And also there was some like ways that they spoke that like it didn't, like, it'd be weird out of somewhere. So just occasionally the writing didn't work for me. I also have to say this, and this is based off the book. The margins kept changing. And so sometimes I like have to pry the book open to read, and sometimes it was on the end. I'll show you. Like on this one. How much room is there? And then there's like no room. Right? Like on this side, you're like prying. Did you see that? Like this one has very little room, and then that one has a ton of room. And so on one side, you're like prying to get open. Some pages are worse than others. You're like prying to get it open, and it's just, it ruins the reading experience. I get it. That's just a mass market paperback. Whatever. We'll move it on to the next world. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Do you ever let your running mood or runs influence your reading? If you do, please comment down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, witches.